Tonight on Airtel Touching Lives, we look at issues affecting the most vulnerable of women. Touching lives. Coming up in tonight's episode. In season 3, we met Taiwo, an HIV orphan who was battling to eat and struggling with her education. And we meet She Rights Woman.
Depression is one of the most common mental health disorders. With 1 in 4 people will develop depression at some point in time in their lifetime.
I've been there, and this is something I am extremely passionate about. You know, I wouldn't want to see other women go through it in silence.
I want to touch your life. I want to be the change. I'm going to shine my light. I'm going to make a difference. Touch your life. Be the change. Shine my light. And make a difference. You're the one to make the world a much better place. You're the one. You're the one. Touching lives.
Our first story started last season when we met Taiwo. Let's take a look at her story.
Touching lives.
Taiwo Simbiat came to St. Joavix through one of our volunteers who identified her in the community as a vulnerable child. She lost her father and mother. She was living with her grandmother. She was about 80 years old at that time. They rented 1 bedroom in a big house. So, and that's where the grandmother lives with Taiwo.
The day I got to their house, she was lying down there.
She was virtually bedridden.
Ìjọ́ kan mo wá sí school, wọ́n wá pè tíṣà méjì, wọ́n wá pè mí láti school. Wọ́n ní kó lọ pé ìyá Simbi wá o, Simbi wà ní school. Ẹ̀rù bà mí. Wọ́n ní Simbi, wọ́n ní báwo ni mo ṣe ń tọ́jú ẹ̀, wọ́n ní ṣé mo mọ irú àìsàn tó ń ṣe, mo ní wọ́n ti sọ fún mi.
As at the time when she was identified, we liaised with hospitals where we partner with to see what can be done. So they took her to hospital and she was found to be HIV positive.
Ìjọ́sí kan, ìkókó orí ẹ̀ ó tó lé, òkè wà ń bí, ìkan wà ń bí, tẹ́ ilé báyìí tí wọ́n là ilé ètú fúnra ẹ̀, kọ̀mpilítì oṣù mẹ́ta ilé òtú, ó tó lé. Ìgbà tí mo lọ sí FM yẹn, wọ́n wá ní wọ́n àdìmítì mi, mo ní kẹ́ jọ̀ọ́, mi ò lówó. Mo ní 1,000 tí mo gbé wá yìí, mo ní ó lóun fẹ́ jẹun. Mo ra oúnjẹ Better Life fún àpò kan àti Better Life ní nígbà yẹn. Mo ra oúnjẹ Better Life fún, mo ní owó mi ò pé àti lọ sí Kàrẹ́ mọ́. Wọ́n ní mi tí ẹ̀ gbọ́dọ̀ lọ sí Kàrẹ́. Wọ́n ní kí n gbọ́mọ lọ sí Kàrẹ́. Ṣé mo fẹ́ kó kú ni? Mo ní mi fẹ́ kó kú, mo wá ń bẹ̀ wọ́n. Eléyìí á ní kí n jẹ́ kó ń pọ̀ gáhùn. Ọ̀gá Adé á ní kí n jẹ́ kó ń pọ̀ gáhùn. Ọ̀gá Adé wọ́n ṣàpè dókítà 9, wọ́n sọ̀rọ̀ àǹdí mi, mo wá kúnlẹ̀, mo ń bẹ̀ wọ́n. Wọ́n wá ṣe báyìí. Wọ́n ní wọ́n ní kò sí ṣíṣe kò sáìṣe, wọ́n ní wẹ́ẹ́ wọ́n náà mọ wa ni. Wọ́n wá gbé káàdì tó tóbi. Ó lóun ní ju 5 múrí 5 ó fi sí. Ó lọ sí wọ́ọ̀dù kìíní, wọ́ọ̀dù kejì àti gbogbo àwọn tíṣà àwọn dókítà yẹn. Wọ́n fowó sí. Wọ́n gba owó yẹn. Ó jẹ́ àpò 16 oògùn tí wọ́n ní kí n rà.
Because of the condition of the grandmother, because his age, she could not walk hard enough to provide 3 square meals for Taiwo. So Taiwo had to skip meals at times. And she is on a lifelong drug. So she needs support to move on.
Mama kò jàre, daddy mi ló jàre. Daddy mi ti jàre, ìgbà mi ò tí jàre.
Mi ò ní nì. Igi tí n bá lọ ṣẹ́gi tàbí ò jẹun. Tí n bá lọ já àwọn ewébẹ̀ tọ́lọ̀ ń gbìn tí kì í ṣe pé èèyàn ló gbìn. Kí n máa lagbó òkórìnrìn, iṣẹ́ kò gbọ̀nà, ìta ọ̀dẹ̀, ewébẹ̀ àwọn ràsá, àwọn egbò igi, òun ni mo dì sórí wọn. Ṣèbí wọ́n rí mọ́sẹ́ẹ̀sì wọn lórí, wọ́n sọ pé wọ́n rí wọn lọ́kọ̀ọ́rùn.
What is affecting them is financial support. She needs assistance for her health, and she needs what to support Taiwo's upbringing.
In the words of the grandmother, after she was attended to, she told us one day that if not for this, for the intervention that she got, she kept waking up and looking at one day she was going to wake up and Taiwo will be gone. Who will look after Taiwo if the grandmother is no more? Has been a question we've ourselves have been grumbling with. We've not been able to find an answer to that question until now.
As you know, the show is called Airtel Touching Lives, and we're about touching lives here. There is only, so much that we can contribute, but we definitely want to do something to make things easier for both Taiwo and Grandma. And the first thing I would like to say that Airtel would like to do for you to just help you out is provide accommodation for 2 years. So they will pay your rent for 2 years. So we know how important education is, and we know that Mama is getting older, and Taiwo's future needs to be secure. So we want to do something very little. It's not as much, but it's a start and it's a contribution towards her future. So what Airtel is going to do is that they'll be offering a scholarship that will cover her school fees, that's her school tuition, uniform, and school books to the tune of 1 million naira.
Wow, that's great.
We recently met up with Taiwo, her grandmother, and her nominator to see how she's been doing since appearing on Airtel Touching Lives.
Well, it has been a wonderful experience with the family since Airtel Touching Lives have actually touched their life. Taiwo has improved dramatically. She attends school regularly. She feels well, and even of recent, our grades have started coming up.
Wọ́n ṣe gan o. Wọ́n fún mi ní ìrọ̀rùn, wọ́n fún mi ní ìfọ̀kànbalẹ̀. Ọkàn mi balẹ̀, ẹ rí pé èmi náà yàtọ̀ báyìí. Ilé iṣẹ́ ATM, àwọn ló ràn mí lọ́wọ́ lórí Táíwò. Ó ń lọ sí school. Wọ́n bá mi sanwó school ẹ̀. Wọ́n raṣọ school fún. Wọ́n ràwé fún. Kò sí nǹkan kan ju pé kí n dáná kó jẹun, kí n wẹ̀. Tó jẹ́ pé èmi ń ṣe fún wọn. Gbogbo nǹkan ATM ló ń ṣe.
Ẹ ṣé Airtel.
Ẹ ṣé ATM. Ẹ ṣé
Airtel. Thank you very much.
It's really great to see that Taiwo is doing so well and has a chance at a better life thanks to Airtel. Join the conversation on our social media and please interact with us. You'll find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Coming up after the break, we meet She Rights Women. Be sure to join us. You don't want to miss this. She Rights Women is a non-profit organization that is assisting Nigerian women in dealing with a variety of mental health challenges. They offer services like a helpline and support groups for free.
Nigeria is seeing, a large number of people accessing mental health care now.
Depression is one of the most common mental health disorders. With 1 in 4 people will develop depression at some point in time in their lifetimes.
I've been there, and this is something I am extremely passionate about. I find it very purposeful, for me, with my story and my journey with mental illness myself. I wouldn't want to see other women go through it in silence. So I use my personal experience to help other women understand that they're not alone, that there is a community of women like me who have been there and who are ready to speak up for all of us. So it's letting them feel comfortable, it's letting them feel confident that their story is not over. Life doesn't have to just stop.
I lost my mum when I was very young, about 9 years old, and I didn't have the words to really cope with what I was going through. So for a long time, I had bottled up the feelings inside myself, and obviously they were rising up and they were manifesting themselves as anxiety and depression.
She Rights Women is a movement of love, hope, and support. And for us, those are the pillars: love, hope, and support for women in particular, who live with mental disorders in Nigeria. And we're really doing that, by sharing survival stories, by having honest conversations about this so that people can get comfortable and confident enough to seek help. We're trying to connect help with hope. Some of the services that we provide as She Rights Women we consider to be very imperative, in the mental health ecosystem. We're pretty much plugging in places where there are gaps. So for example, we have the helpline.
As a consultant psychiatrist for She Rights Women, my role is to provide as many people as possible who contact She Rights Women with expert mental health services. So what happens is people call the helpline, the 24-hour helpline, and when you call, whoever picks up the phone then does an assessment, and following the assessment, they decide if you need psychiatric intervention or not. If you do need psychiatric intervention, then I get a call, and once I get a call, myself and whoever is on the line would arrange a meeting, and depending on what the problem is, we'll decide a plan of management.
When we connect you with any of our mental health professionals, the first thing that comes to mind shouldn't be cost, because we work out preferential rates with our professionals, so you would usually get the first couple of sessions free. So you don't need to think about, oh my gosh, but I don't have money. How do I access, mental health care? That's taken care of. We're working on more and more cost systems and structures and revenue models such that we would continuously be able to subsidize people's mental health care, because that seems to be a major barrier in seeking mental health care in Nigeria.
From the talk, which is usually history taking, or let's say call it an assessment, you want to ask about the symptoms. Usually what you would find is the person has low mood, loss of interest in things that person used to find pleasurable, decreased energy. And if somebody has at least 2 of those 3, then we're going to ask other questions. Most importantly, we want to ask if they have been thinking about harming themselves, or you have made a plan to kill yourself at some point in time. That question is a major pointer to how we'll manage the person from that point.
Over the first year of the helpline, we realized that 92% of the people that called had depression. They were later on diagnosed with some sort of depression, major depression, mild depression, but they were diagnosed with depression. Also in that period, we saw 91% of our audience being women and 9% being men, But now, obviously, it has grown. It's amazing how it has begun to shift. Now we have 81% of our audience being women, and actually the others being men. So there's also a shift within the mental health space. We see more men actually talking about mental health as well, because they're seeing like, oh my gosh, so there is such an organization doing such a fantastic thing. I think I need to speak up as well.
For me, I'd never been to a group therapy session before, so I felt like, I'd come to my 30s, I wanted to, deal with the situation from my past. So I needed a place that I felt comfortable expressing it. And actually, it was in my first group session. I don't remember the name of the facilitator, but she said that people who lose their mums under the age of 10, that they are prone to issues such as anxiety and depression as they age. And I just thought that described me, to a T.
The support group is one of our most, sought after solutions, because sadly we're in a society where the first kind of support and understanding you're going to get from a mental health diagnosis or disorder isn't going to come from your immediate family and friends. So you're going to need a place where you can talk freely. We say it's a safe place you can talk without fear of, judgment or stigma.
I joined the support group for 2 reasons. The first reason was, first, as far as I was concerned, it was free therapy. And free therapy is always welcome, because therapy costs an arm and a leg in this country. So if you can get free therapy, grab it. Especially for someone who's been through clinical depression before. I know what therapy costs, because I had to actually go to therapy every week. And also, I realized that, wait a minute, there are other people who are going through what I have gone through. And I can use my experience to help them not suffer as much as I had to, because I didn't have anybody to talk to in my time. And so those were the 2 reasons why I joined. It was the fact that I was free therapy, and it was an opportunity to also give back from my own experience.
When I think back to the first time I went to the group therapy session, I was a bit guarded. I didn't want to actually participate. And I think about, the 1-year anniversary, which I was in attendance at, and how vocal I was. I can see the impact this has had in my life. And I've moved from being, somebody who didn't want to say anything in the sessions to actually someone who's now helped Hawa host the sessions.
I always like to invite people to Safe Place, because Safe Place is not just about people that are living with mental illnesses or those of us who are or used to live with a mental illness. The truth is that Nigeria is just a really stressful place. Especially if you live in Lagos. Like, it is really stressful, and we all need a safe place really to unburden at least once a month. I honestly would recommend Safe Place to every and anyone who needs a place to actually let down their hair and unburden their hearts about the things that they worry about and not be judged. You're supported and accepted just as you are.
There are ladies that have said things for the first time they've never shared with anyone else, and these are deep, dark secrets that they've been able to get off their chest. And it's, I think of the statement, waiting to exhale. And I think that that's what I would describe the group sessions as, an exhale.
It is treatable. So you wonder why people have to stay suffering for so long.
It was so healing, just being able to share with other women, and also just hearing what other people are going through. So I didn't just focus on my problem, but I found myself being a support for the other ladies in the session with me.
Our drive and our initiatives and, our visibility is beginning to gain attention, and people are beginning to notice and key in one way or the other. But I wouldn't be so quick to say we've scratched the surface. We've barely scratched the surface. Just so much more to be done within the mental health space, and we haven't even begun to start. We're dealing with real life issues. People's lives are literally at stake, and it's important that we do get funding for the work that we do.
I am so inspired by the positive change that She Writes Women is doing in our communities. Join our conversation on social media, or please interact with us. You'll find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Coming up after the break, I meet the women who are spearheading this vitally important initiative. Welcome back to Airtel Touching Lives. She Writes Women is in the studio with us. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
Hawa, tell me, what is the future of your organization?
A group of women, a community of women, large community of women across Nigeria, fostering the movement, getting more people to talk about it, getting more people to engage in our services, influencing policies, ensuring that the conversation about mental health enters into every aspect of the society, families, schools, companies, religious institutions, that we talk about it, and we need to lead this movement, ensuring that we lead support services like the helpline, support more and more support groups multiple support groups in every state in Nigeria, just ensuring that no woman ever has to go through this alone, thinking there's no help, there's no hope. They need to know that there are lots of us out here who are speaking on behalf of all of us.
Well, first of all, I would like to commend all three of you, not just for the work that you're doing, but even for sharing your personal stories, because I know in a community like this how closed we can be sometimes and how difficult that is. So I really, really appreciate and commend you using your story to continuously help and save the lives of people, more and more women out there. And the whole of Nigeria is watching, and I'm sure there's going to be so much support pouring through as well. But of course, Airtel is going to still do something amazing for you, because we are touching lives after all. So what Airtel would like to do is to rent a space for a year in Ikeja for you.
So great. Okay, so
Are you trying to hide from crying? What is
Oh my gosh, that is amazing.
that is so
And with an inverter as well to make sure that the place is running.
Oh my gosh.
that is so cool.
This is awesome.
That is
Yeah.
so cool.
And that's actually like one of the #1 challenges
Yeah.
every single month, finding a space. So
Finding a
this is awesome.
Hawa, what's this going to do for you?
It's going to do a whole lot for us. Like Oyinda said, it has been a major challenge for us every single month, you know. And it is limited, some of the activities that we can do, some of the services that we can render to people. People want to come and talk face to face. Okay, can I see the psychiatrist somewhere? Can I meet you somewhere? And we're like, okay, maybe we have to go rent a co-working space for a day to have our meetings, or, you know, getting a space is really hard because people want to charge for it. And we offer the services for free, you know, so this is so amazing, you know. It's going to change a whole lot of things for us, you know. It's going to help us reach more people, do more things, because we're about solutions. You know, how do we get people solutions creatively, innovatively, more and more solutions? How do we get it to where they are? How do we get them to come to where it is, you know, and just how do we operate efficiently and, you know, rather than just being all over the place all the time.
Toby, how do you think, you know, what do you think is going to do for people who need mental health services urgently?
I mean, for just having the space, first of all, like, I know how many months, like, how I would have to buzz us, like, the first week in the month to say, where are we holding Safe Place this month? And can anybody come up with a venue? And it's like, I mean, I thought we had to cancel 1 or 2 editions of Safe Place because we couldn't find a venue. And people literally were stuck that month because they couldn't come to support group. People want to be able to meet one-on-one, say, oh yeah, I've read your story, but it doesn't sound like it's really true. Especially when I say, oh, I've been off medication for 8 years. And the first question is, how do I do that? But then people want to meet with you. And then question is, where? And then we all start kind of like go all over this and think, where do we find space to do that? So for us, that's going to be able to help us serve more people, like, and kind of expand services, because you don't have to worry about the cost of space in Lagos, like half of your problems are solved.
Wow, they've been crying, I've been crying. Mental health is one of those big challenges that keeps going silent. So it is just incredible to see the amount of work they're doing and to see the help that we've been able to offer and how much more they could do as well. Until next time, you've been watching Airtel Touching Lives.
We visit Imodi Ijebu to see how a lack of access to computers is affecting the community.
The major challenge that we have is access to internet facilities, computer education, which we believe is something that can help the youth.
When we are given assignment, our teachers will tell us to go and type it or do photocopy. We don't have access to that here in our town.
This is so incredible, and it's going to do amazing things for the women out there that we reach. It's going to increase our reach. It's going to help us reach more women and save more lives. So thank you so much, Airtel. This means so much.
I want to touch your life. I want to be the change.